Hi, welcome to MissGuided Magic. We are an all-fem 5e D&D homebrew group full of brains and brawn. Watch as our players uncover the mysteries of Amalia in episode 3 of our season premiere. And just to recap, last episode, you guys have been transported to some sort of pocket dimension full of poisonous roots, sentient plants, creepy crawlies, after doing some skeleton fishing and grabbing an unidentified circlet with a couple other things in, and you guys moved through the cave, were able to etch in the scraps of paper that you guys had found that you believed gave the coordinates to wherever DeJorn Waslin had been trying to teleport, and stepped into the circle with Hone correctly inputting all of the different information so that you guys didn't have to do guesswork, seeing some sort of magical overlay in his vision. Before you guys could question that, the circle lit up, and knowing that there were only about 6 seconds, you guys rushed through. You guys feel yourselves pushed, moving. You're pulled apart at the seams, pushed back together, and you see yourself in brief flashes moving over the continent of Gallias. First, the rest of the grotto, you see yourself catapulting south before materializing and with a finding yourselves in a beautiful sunlit corridor. The architecture is pristine, curtains everywhere, lots and lots of windows, which you know means glass, which is expensive. There's some abstract sculptures lying about. There are chandeliers everywhere, light everywhere. Looking around the area appears to be deserted. I would say you guys may have made a little bit of a noise coming in, but aside from that, you don't hear anything. No one seems to have heard you. You haven't alerted anyone. There are no large groups around.
Seeing that fancy glass, Beetle, her mismatched eyes sort of like panic for a minute. She looks around like, oh, no, we didn't teleport to my hometown, did we? And then she calms down before realizing, wait just a moment. Where did that portal of yours take us, elf?
Phone just shrugs.
Do you not have coordinates like on the paper?
I just went by what the visions told me, and here we are.
I
At
would
least we're no
assume
longer where we were.
that's true. I would assume, well, hopefully we're where we're supposed to be. If that was the other group's goal as well.
Does any of it look familiar of the room or wherever we're at is?
I don't believe you're proficient in history. For you, it would not.
I am proficient in history. It's only a +1, but I am proficient.
Okay, yeah, roll a history check.
Ooh.
An 11.
It does look similar to some of the architecture and buildings that you studied when studying Fendere.
Well, this looks like where we should be according to the pictures in the books that I saw when we were studying.
I wonder if,
Sundari.
yeah, if we can find Tibby, maybe? See if
We're back in the excuse me.
There has to be some sort of servant. These higher-ups always do, and Beetle is going to start essentially walking the floor, looking for anyone, probably calling out, hello,
Gloria's gonna
is anyone
cast
home?
thaumaturgy and have her voice echo, hello?
Right. This sort of voice that sounds even more like sort of gravel scraping over rock carries out throughout the echoing hall, just sort of reverberating. Someone who seems to be dressed fairly simply, perhaps as a maid or manservant, opens the door and peeks their head out. their eyes widen as they see you, and they walk forward. Hello, kind of, and you would see. Well, you have pretty high passive insight, right?
Oh, you mean passive perception?
Insight.
Oh, insight. My passive insight is up to
Ooh.
12.
Mine's a
16?
14.
Okay.
16.
Julian and Hone, you would notice that he's looking you guys up and down, and making clear note of the differences in your various species. Looking up and down, wide eyes, kind of taking in you guys absolutely reek, having fallen in muck, waded through pools, turn into a crocodile and back without cleaning yourself. You guys stink. And there's a sort of an acrid reek about you from that acidic sludge. You guys have these filthy face masks. He looks absolutely terrified, slowly begins backing away, hands out.
So sorry. We had a bit of an issue with some fast travel, and well, we're a little worse for the wear. Can
Were
you
we
tell us?
given any paperwork to identify who we were when we got there? Just in case?
Oh, good call.
Nope.
We-
It was assumed you would be teleported directly to where Tibby was, and she would take charge of you. Also, teleportation is extremely rare. Like it's not like there are people bouncing in and out of the palace. The fact that you were given a scroll with teleportation coordinates was a huge sign of trust, supposedly, because they're essentially giving away their location to you on paper.
Yeah,
Is there anyone named Tibby around? She was supposed to.
Tibby Elsgard.
He does.
Yes, young person, you really don't need to be so worried. We merely had a mishap with your teleportation. Just please show us where this Tibby is.
We don't even know if that's where we are.
He looks around, backing up. Lady Tabaratha is awaiting guests. Please stay here. I'll get someone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
He scampers off. He seems absolutely terrified of you.
I mean, rightly so. We look like shit.
Scoria kind of whispers over, I'm really good at persuading and deceiving people, so if we need to do that, maybe let me talk.
Maybe
Fair.
we should just wait here and try to be as appropriate as we can.
Yeah, Julian will try to like do her best to make herself look presentable while being truly disgusting.
Mhm.
Just okay.
Okay. You have a little bit of time before somebody else arrives. If you guys want to put together a game plan and organize what you're going to say, but if you're not planning to do that, we can go ahead and skip.
I think what we just tell them the truth, because this is. I'm
Um,
gonna sneeze.
If
Sorry.
they bring anybody other than Tibby, then I can go ahead and, make the explanation and make it sound more plausible than honestly it sounds truthfully. And if it's Tibby, then she'll recognize us.
And I think
Yes.
we need to remember that this mission was originally do not start a war.
Yes.
So
yes.
let's be honest. Don't do anything stupid and try not to look dangerous.
Best behavior.
Yes.
Beetle's just gonna shrug. I'm an old woman. They won't see danger until it's too late.
Don't do danger at all unless it's absolutely necessary.
Of course, yes. And Beetle is she's just gonna sit on the floor. She's tired. Her bones hurt.
Honestly, Brasco's doing the same thing. I think he probably landed flat on his face when they went through, just because this teleportation thing is bullshit.
You guys sit and lean your like filthy muck covered bodies against these pristine white walls, just taking a moment to breathe. Pretty soon you do hear a number of footsteps and you see maybe 12 people arrive. Tibby, you do notice, is kind of taking up the rear, kind of looking around. Clearly, she's a furball, so even though she's a fairly short furball, she can see over everybody's head, and you instantly recognize her. Her eyes like widen as she, like looks at you, and she rushes forward, like elbowing people out of the way, kind of moving to Scoria, who seems to have stepped up to sort of take the brunt of any.
And I forgot that I did take prestidigitation as we leveled up, since I could swap out cantrips, and I was like, oh, I need it. So I did take it. And so while we waited, I did cast prestidigitation on each of us, so we're a little cleaner.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
All right.
As clean as Beetlebug can get.
She does sort of like rush towards you and grabs you by the hands, Scoria, and looking into your eyes, like absolutely terrified. She says, "Is the king okay? Why didn't you teleport into the other spot?
Well, we teleported,
Is he
but
okay?"
It was fine when we left.
we're
Yes.
the only ones that, yes, we came through on our own. He's still back there. But as we teleported, a strange purple mist, like as described for the last group when everything went down, surrounded us, and we ended up in a very dangerous place. And the last group of ambassadors sent, we found
At this time, you see the politicians begin to crowd around you. People are throwing questions at you. You notice, like a dwarf person like call out, like, "How are you able to get back here then?" And someone else calling out, like, "What do you mean the previous politicians?" And kind of moving back and forth.
Brasco
yeah.
Brasco uses his big old orc voice and goes, "Calm down. We're gonna explain everything. We figured out what happened to the last ones. Just
Well, we
No,
mostly figured it out. We're still not sure why we were teleported.
Ends up holding out her hand, turning to the group. "My guests are extremely tired and they are clearly overwrought. Please excuse us. We will speak with you later." And she looks absolutely terrified. She's like cringing into herself as she says this, but even though her body language is very meek, her voice remains strong. One of you roll a persuasion check with advantage, either Brasco or Scoria.
I
uh,
will.
I will go ahead and use Scoria on that one because my charisma's not great.
Oh boy.
That is a 15.
All right.
The politicians clearly look upset, but you can tell that there's a certain sense of decorum that's still expected. And they've been brought up in a certain way where they know they're not expected to devolve into a concerned crowd or mob. As Tibby, larger than everybody else, begins to walk past, she like kind of continues to look back at you to see if you're following. She inches her way
Yes,
forward.
Gloria will follow, and she'll be like, "Please understand, we will absolutely answer all of your questions after we have rested. It was quite the ordeal." And like she'll pull out a little hand fan and like fan herself. She's following Tibby.
Yeah, Beetle is gonna play up the old lady act, and she is doing an exaggerated hobble. She's leaning on her quarterstaff. And she's
Oh,
going,
let me help
"Rest for an
you.
old woman."
Julian will help her along.
Does anyone
Brasco,
have
Such
a
a
perception of
kind
15?
person.
What was that?
Perception of 15.
I had
14.
what was that?
Does anyone have a passive perception over 15?
I do. I have a passive perception of 16.
Yeah.
You can hear somebody mutter. This would be someone who looks part halfling but is a little bit short. Mutter, "These are the politicians they sent?" In a very skeptical voice as you guys inch past. You notice a couple faces, a few people that seem to be standing out, but it all sort of blurs in the rush of adrenaline that you have still from trying to escape from that demi-plane. Tibby leads you guys down and through what seems to be an enormous sweeping palace with countless wings. The one that you came from seems a little bit darker, a little bit hushed. There are more curtains and lighting. She leads you out into what seems to be a central area, which is full of sweeping marble pillars and just sort of like streaked with some sort of blue. It looks like almost moss, but it's stuck in the stone. Taking you guys through to an area that seems to be deserted. She pulls you guys off into an alcove, kind of looking around to see that no one's there. Sort of, whispers, "We can't incite any more suspicion or war. I don't know what happened or how you guys got here. you need to have a really concrete answer here with every possibility of every sort of stray thread backed up before you say anything to these people. This is not the sort of place where you can say something thoughtlessly and they're not going to notice. Okay? There are a lot of questions that people are going to have for you because of what was already said. Don't let them back you into a corner. This is not the sort of thing that we can really explain away. I don't know what's going on, but this doesn't sound good in regards to peace. And I know we're probably going to get blamed for something.
Well,
So
we just wanted to be honest about it because there's obviously somebody that is interfering and endangering those politicians that do travel here from Vertogen, and in a
Exactly.
way that
Scoria,
we
I'm
are unable.
on your side. I'm not trying to argue with you. I just need you to be careful.
Understood.
Do you do you have any ideas as to how we can smooth this over, explain away the situation?
Right, mitigate the crisis. How would you suggest it, Tibby? No word will pass without your approval.
I don't need my approval. I'm just trying to help you. Look, here, let me show you the diplomat's quarters. We'll get you settled, and then we need to hear everything that happened.
Tibby,
Okay?
how long were we? How long were we gone? We were there about a day or so. It felt like the sun never really set.
You guys were there 2 days. Her brow furrows. You arrived exactly when you were supposed to, just in the wrong spot.
We've been at
Okay.
least 2 days. It
We
seems
do
like.
believe that we were on a demiplane that's not quite synced up with this one because the bodies there, they were the bodies of the politicians. We found their things and their books, but they were well more decayed than they
Which
should have been.
Oh, okay, come on. She's going. She's starts to talk, catches herself, and is like, "This isn't the place for this." Hurries
Scoria
you back.
was whispering like in her ear as they walked. So,
Right. She's like
well,
leaning
at her
completely
hip.
Oh,
sideways as we
she can
stand
hold
on
you up.
tiptoe, trying to whisper into her ear. Um,
I forget how short I am.
like 4 feet, and she's about 8. So you come up to her.
2. I'm very small.
Bitty bitty.
Just like crouched down, like she's talking to a toddler to speak with you. She like run walks out of the palace, and you guys take a garden path, and you can tell that this area is full of beautifully curated gardens, very different from the sort of forested jungle areas in Vertogen that you're used to. These are more manicured rose bushes. There are a few grapevines growing up the sides of the walls, a number of trellises, a few crops, like for example, like pea plants, some of the prettier ones that seem to be sprinkled throughout. Um, you would notice a lot of different herbs, a few spices, some plants used for dyes, a couple that you know to be poisonous, but poison isn't their only use. Um, Moving through, she takes you to a side building that is maybe like a 5 to 10 minute walk away from the palace. And looking ahead, you can see that there are pathways that lead farther on to what perhaps might be other buildings. Um, she sort of gestures to you. This is the Venderan Diplomat's Palace. It, I don't think, is very well guarded. I still think you should be very careful about what you say while you're here and what you do. I've spent the last few days I've been here trying to ward the king's rooms, which are reinforced, but yours are not. So just please keep that in mind. Um, the windows are dragon glass, at least in the king's rooms. I can attest to that. But everything else, I'm not entirely sure of. The servants here are from their Kohen, and you can trust them. She's going to lead you in. And this is the diplomatic state. You guys will be spending a fair amount of time. So walking in, you guys can see that in the Finbaron custom, there aren't necessarily like tables, but there are a lot of rugs that you're meant to be seated at. A lot of sort of like waist-high tables, which are sort of normal table level for Scoria, but seated tables for everybody else. Walking forward along the tiled path, there's an indoor pool that opens up to an enormous skylight in the top of the building. You can see some changing areas, a large kitchen that seems to be behind them. Tibby leads you off to the left up these stairs. and is going to gesture to some of the rooms. The one over here, move you guys. The one over here is where the king is staying in, and I'm going to be staying next door. But the top three up north, those are available. If you guys want to choose a room, there are servants' quarters on the sides, and I can introduce you to them. We do need to speak quickly. I'll let you pick things a little bit later when you've had some downtime. But she'll lead you into her room, which, as you walk in, you'll notice is decked out in Verpillion colors, and the Verpillion colors, sort of moss green and emerald, clearly seem to have been sort of set there by her. A couple things might have been magically changed. Most notably, you notice what seems to be an alchemical or herbalist workshop that has been sort of haphazardly set up with a table that has a number of skid marks against the hardwood. So it looks like it's been dragged in from somewhere. And there's a large stone sort of patio area with a cauldron on it that is sort of slowly bubbling with this like purple pink ooze. She runs over and immediately starts stirring it a couple times, and it stops bubbling. She like taps the ladle out, sets it down, turns to you. You can see that she whispers a word, and a line of runes appear around the wall here and here. All of the areas that look like, all of the windows, all of the doors, everywhere that looks like someone might enter from. And she says, should keep us somewhat safe for the time being, but I can't guarantee anything against being spied upon. However, it's very rare that someone would have the capability of doing that. The queen has some sort of magic user with her, but I don't think she would have gotten word this fast or thought to look. So let's go ahead and speak before word gets out too much. Look, you said you came from a demi-dimension and you teleported back. I didn't realize you could teleport. And how did you know the coordinates?
It was more, we were shunted into this demi-plane by the same purple mist that you had described to us as had taken the last politicians. And
as you speak, inches over to her desk and like one hand takes out a piece of paper and starts taking notes as you talk.
And we found most of the previous party. The poor tabaxi had been noted, and she'll kind of gesture towards Hone. Hone found and was able to read that had been swallowed by the earth.
What do you mean? What do you mean able to read?
Well, Hone
Hone displays the journal that was written by the last
Lauren. And
diplomats.
Kristen, could you please open the package that you received?
Oh boy, I got this. All right, and you guys need to check out her seal too.
I know,
So
Maria.
amazing.
Maria always sends the coolest letters.
So neat.
Maria is literally the coolest.
Right. So this is the journal.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So just letting you guys know, you guys will all be receiving something either this week or the following week. These things do not line up. These are different accounts given by different people, and only by coordinating with each other and finding the inconsistencies between the various things you were given will you guys be able to figure out what leads you need to follow.
Ooh.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah, so this is a whole ass journal here. Not what Hone is saying. This is just me, Kristen, saying stuff. But but yeah, where do I start?
You don't have to read it. The names of the party members, I think on the first or second page, are all listed in order if you would like to give them to Tibby.
Okay. So
I won't make you look through it since you don't know where things are and you just got it. But I will tell you that the names of the various
Yeah.
politicians.
They're over here, so I got it.
Okay.
All right, so he skips ahead or looking through the journal, and he starts reading. Um, My fellow survivors, if that is indeed what we are, Glenn Volmar of the Shadow Grove, Selenar of the Slyfoot, Nora Ross of the Honeyed Lake, Eliad Preda of Vertohen, and myself, DeJorn Walslin. And yeah, this is DeJorn Walslin's journal.
Hone managed to, I believe it was the what was the name of the journal writer again? I immediately don't remember.
DeJorn?
DeJorn had sort of made a circle to teleport already. It was carved into the stone of the cave we entered. And Hone managed to piece together the last pieces we needed. We had to go and find each piece of, like,
Wait a moment.
circle.
DeJorn had the coordinates to the Fendarin Palace.
Apparently so. DeJorn pieced together a teleportation circle in an attempt to get out of the demiplane. We somehow, between Han and the rest of us finding the pieces that were missing, we managed to teleport out. We weren't aiming to get to the palace at that point. We were just trying to get out.
It was a matter of survival. The place was, even by my
We
standards,
almost lost.
positively rancid.
We almost lost both Beetlebug and Hone. It was an extremely dangerous place.
So, to get this straight, the 5 most important Vertohen politicians, none of the Fendarin politicians, were somehow teleported to a pocket dimension that was designed to kill you with poison, and everybody else was shipwrecked and somehow survived, except for the crew. And then DeJorn somehow had the coordinates to the Fendarin Palace, which have been closely guarded for hundreds of years, etched them correctly into the stone in order to teleport back.
Apparently, to be fair, the teleportation circle wasn't finished. He had sent his friends or his companions out into the swamps to piece together the coordinates and symbols needed. They didn't return. We had to go out and find their bodies to find those pieces, and Han managed to piece them together.
With teleportation circles, I can't teleport myself, but I do know the theory, and I know that you need to and from coordinates as well as the basic circle. If you know the 2 coordinates, you know the signature that is guarded for the city of Vertohen, or of Fendare. If he was able to know that signature, that means that he had access to incredibly secret information. There's clearly something he was not sharing.
Wait, Han, you drew the sigil, didn't you? Because I was gonna originally be the one to etch it in. You drew it out, didn't you?
Yes.
Do we still have just to show Tibby that?
Because it was done with the charcoal, so we'd still have the papers technically.
Yeah, so it's still in the journal, and he displays the page that we tried to.
This was what
odds. I am a wizard. Wizardry is safeguarded, and it is very difficult to find and create new spells. I do work on things like this, but I can't just look at a spell and know what it is.
No, we're just trying to explain as best we can.
Okay. No, I believe
we followed what was written in the journal. We learned everything to get here from the journal.
And I guess, they didn't make it out of there. Their bodies, they were bones, which is another thing. If it's been 20 years, they were, it had been a long time they were in there.
That's why we asked about the time, because it appears that more time passes there than it does here.
Nice,
2 days.
double the rotting.
If 2 days just equals a few seconds, then yeah, that would make sense. Which means it must be buried fairly deep um, into the plane. So
That's how we got back.
I'm just concerned because usually things such as bags of holding, there's no time passage because the fabric it tears between time to get to that pocket dimension is so paper thin you can't even notice it. The power it must have taken to rip a hole that deep to create a pocket dimension like that. Um, I mean, I
And
don't.
I mean, the rest trust. I'm amazed. No offense, Holland, but none of us have skills in the arcane. It's pretty surprising we pulled it off at all.
Aren't you all magic users?
Scoria's
I
gonna lean over and whisper to Brosco, "Do you still have the spores from the mushrooms with you? Maybe Tibby can look at it and learn something."
I mean, they all have certain abilities, but I just have daggers. Also, here, Tibby, and I'll take out the little vial of spores that Scoria gave me. Go, the cave we landed in was filled with mushrooms that emitted these spores.
Okay. Well, I'll take a look at them. She'll take the vial from you. It's smart to think to gather something.
Right, a piece of evidence, as it were, although I didn't think it was going to be used as evidence.
So this DeJorn, I don't know too much about him, but if he was some sort of a spellcaster, I think that would have been noted. Do you think he would have had the magical energy to be able to even cast something like that?
Oh, Han, was there anything in the journal about him being a caster?
He just makes a lot of observations in here and, just troubleshooting the spells and the sending stones that they had, but not. He doesn't seem. He's still looking through the journal. He
Scoria will
doesn't say
speak up and be
anything.
like, "Hon, we also the spell book that was with him. We brought that too."
Oh, yes, that's right.
Right. And Chris, if you could open the package that you received.
Yes.
Oh, I have that spell book. Oh. I mean, technically, Scoria can't read this, but because it's in
You
Elvish.
can spell it out phonetically. And
I can help translate if you need.
But yes, it does have a few spells in it. Uh Ooh, some good spells in it.
so the spell book, when used by a non-wizard, is not going to act the same way. It is going to act like a spell scroll. So all of
Yes.
these are essentially single-use spell scrolls that you have at your disposal. None of you are proficient in Arcana, and magic is incredibly rare here. So you have the school and the spell level of the spells that were not prepared that day, but you will not know what they do until you cast them. The spells that are prepared, you can cast by name.
Okay.
So if you'll see, there's a number on the top right of the spells that are unknown.
Gotcha.
I have the key to that in my DM book. So if you would like to cast some of the unknown spells, please let me know what number you are casting so that I can let you know what happens.
Ah, that makes sense why I was all like, why are there ones that are repeated? Oh, okay, it makes sense now.
Nice.
That is nifty.
Right?
So, Tibby, with all of this, how do you propose we explain what happened? Or not exactly what happened, but explain it away. I mean, this is a bit of a mess.
Yes, how sanitized should we be about this? You said peace was priority, and we can't exactly go casting blame with the evidence that we do have.
Yes, this is a bit of a disaster. Um, I can't see this going well. I know a number of the Thundering politicians will assume we were perhaps trying to set them up to. The way I can see this happening is that several people who are not interested in peace are going to be using this as an excuse to say that we are setting them up to continue the war, um, and to slip out of potentially signing this peace treaty and to point fingers. And I think it's going to make peace a lot harder. I do think that this is some powerful information, and there may be some people who are very interested in what happened. But I think we need to be very careful about who we tell instead of announcing it publicly. I believe what you already said most likely will be, flown through the gossip vine. So they'll probably know that you were supposedly in a pocket dimension and you found the other politician. If you can figure out an excuse for that won't start a war.
I know it may seem counterintuitive, but at this point, being honest and saying something or someone tried to put a halt to this peace mission, but they failed, like they succeeded 20 years ago. But now they've failed, and we're still here, and we still want peace. That is what we came here for. That is what we're working towards.
We're not here to point fingers at anyone who may have uh, shunted us to this pocket dimension. We are here to work past it without any hard feelings and set the wheels in motion for peace, because that is the foremost thing that is on our minds.
I think we could spin it in a hopeful way.
Yes, think of it sort of like, despite the odds in this mysterious purple gas, which we are not putting on anyone, we are here to seek peace, and together we can go against this threat because everyone loves a common enemy. Everyone loves to fight.
Exactly. There's somebody out there being a pain in the ass, but we're still here and we're still going to work for peace.
Well said.
Of course, His Majesty has placed a fair amount of trust in you, and I did choose you for this, and I believe you're capable of handling yourself. Just remember that there are certain people who have agendas and are looking for excuse to point fingers in certain directions. And suggesting another common enemy may not push through 200 years of racial prejudice.
It seems like a bit of an obvious scapegoat. It might not go over well.
Maybe. It might go over well with some people.
Yeah.
With a few, I know it
Or
won't.
maybe we don't point a finger at anybody and just blame this purple mist as if it's its own entity.
There was a mistake, there was an accident, we got lost, we discovered the politicians from 20 years ago, but we are alive and we're here, and we're continuing with what we came here for.
A terrible accident, as it were.
We don't
I
really
mean,
know.
perhaps we can sell it as if
I mean,
they're
technically, we don't actually know, so
we don't.
Yeah,
If
I
if we
would
can,
just suggest that the less we say, then the better off we are.
exactly. I think if we're able to pass it off as if we are um, just here to do our job, something got in our way. We're not exactly sure what it was, but we can worry about that later. This is our priority, and we should move forward with this.
Agreed.
Maybe, I mean,
Focus.
not entirely divert attention from it. We can acknowledge it happened, but the less we give them, the better.
Something happened, we'll work on it later. This is what we need to
First and
focus on.
foremost, this is why we're here.
Agreed.
we're
I
coming
like
forward with honesty, just
and
with some omissions.
Precisely. We only tell them what they need to hear. They're a sensitive lot.
Well, It's my job to advise you, and I've given my advice. So whatever whatever path you take, I'd suggest maybe think of a couple eventualities. Just think a few steps ahead, not just one. These people are difficult, um, and many of them are not naturally trusting or here to make your job easy.
Tibby, how long have you been here for?
She left like 3 days before you guys did. So
Okay.
she's just been like getting situated, and she just met these people as well. She just is a little more experienced than you, just a tiny
Okay.
bit, but doesn't know them.
Doesn't know them. Understood.
Tibby, why were you so worried about the king when we showed up?
Because
Roscoe.
you were supposed to teleport right next to me, and you teleported somewhere else, and you were covered in filth, and it looked like there had been an attack.
I thought I would have assumed you'd been in contact. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I
Well,
thought you.
not in the last like few seconds before you were supposed to teleport.
As Roscoe brings this up, Beetle is just going to observe Tippy as he asks this question. I would like to roll insight.
While she's doing that, Brasco's just going, "Hey, I'm sorry. It's been 2 days. It's been 2 days for me."
Okay, yeah, you can roll insight.
That's a 14.
Okay. I mean, what are you trying to discern?
Is she lying about her concern? Is she trying to play off a character? Because we didn't say anything about the king having a coughing fit or if he was okay or not.
I mean, she seems concerned.
Julian, knowing that this is upsetting to Tibby, and Tibby is our one lifeline here, will say when we passed through the first circle, the king was there. We did see, just as we left their view, that he was having a bit of respiratory trouble, but he seemed to be all right for the most part. There were others there with him, but we were already out of sight. I'm sure that that's concerning to you, but I thought you should probably know. Um, but he was there, and it didn't seem as though anything happened beyond that.
Okay. I'm gonna check on him with my sending stone as soon as we're done here.
Of course.
That's not good.
Why don't we go get rooms and rest and maybe get something to eat?
Maybe
Then
change into something presentable.
Yeah,
I would
we
like
look
to
disgusting.
wash up.
And then
Yes.
maybe we can reconvene a little bit.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
But Tibby, we're still working on this, all right?
Okay.
It's gonna be
Oh,
Okay,
don't look so worried. We'll be fine. Really.
Here, let me introduce you to everyone. And
Should we maybe
not
get
walk-
cleaned up first? We do still have our extra clothes that we were given to be more presentable.
Oh,
you should have some plain clothes in the wardrobes as well, just thin air and colors. But and we can have some things made for you or brought to you. Probably, I think it's like free room service because they're trying to make us happy. But I haven't used it that much yet. But people keep coming into you in the hall saying, "Oh, do you need anything?" And then if you say no, I'm fine, then they kind of follow you around until you ask them for something. Julian, this is a Fendaran custom to ask someone when they enter your home if they need something, and it's custom to answer, kind of like, "How are you? I'm fine." Like it's custom to say like, "Do you need anything?" and to ask someone for something small, and like showing that effort is
Mhm.
meant to sort of like show effort of hospitality you're going to. So you can only imagine that in a palace setting where these very important politicians are here, that custom is like amplified tenfold.
Okay.
But yeah, if you want to get dressed first, we have 4 servants. two other politicians with us. One is more of a scribe, really. His parents pulled some strings to get him here.
Yes, well, I would rather not be filthy anymore. I can't stand my own smell.
So there are two bathrooms, and there's also the pool downstairs. And so these are the three sort of nicer rooms available. And there are five beds, but if one of you would like your own room, you can also take the servants' quarters. Um, it's kind of up to you how you want to split things up.
I mean, at
I'm
this
okay to
point,
stay
Scoria and
anywhere.
Beetlebug are used to sharing a room, so we're fine staying together.
Oh yeah, she has seen too much. It'll be fine.
We're used to living in just a one-room shack together, so
Fresco will probably take a servant's room, actually. If nobody
Yeah.
else.
Hone likes it doesn't Hone doesn't need much, so he would probably opt for one of the servants' rooms too,
Well,
honestly.
there are only two servants' rooms available. So.
Oh, all right. If you're here to take a service room, then I'll take one of the big fancy rooms, and that
Go
way,
ahead.
Brasco's thing was
each
just
three of you could take one of the fancy rooms if Beetle and I are sharing a fancy room.
Yeah.
Brasco just wanted a room by himself. He wasn't really shooting for minimalism.
Julian will absolutely allow herself to enjoy a fancier room after spending so much time sleeping on the ground. So this is rather nice.
Okay.
Beetle is indifferent, but I imagine the moment she lowers herself into a bath when it is run, it is just automatically filled with filth. More than like you
I
can
mean,
imagine.
with
Like there,
all of us at this point, honestly, though.
all the fleas jumping ship.
You just have to
you
skim
just
them
hear
off the
a
top.
thousand little screams.
Right. You have one of those pool skimmers, and there's just like
Yep.
a wall of
She's got one of those comically large like brushes. She's get
Uh-huh.
off it,
Like
you
a-
freeloaders.
When you're done, it's like a Spirited Away bathhouse scenario.
Yes, it's just like that.
Oh my god. You could take a couple hours to do that. When you were all clean and presentable, you would see that in, I guess not in the servants' quarters, but in the main rooms, there are a few like sort of very simple outfits, just sort of like flowy shifts with belts, so kind of one size fits all in their Tindaren colors. And you notice that only the King's Room and Tibby's room are Vertohen green. Everything else is the sky blue and periwinkle of Thindere. As you guys create, like a more presentable appearance, there is a knock on your door, and I would say closest person will be Scoria and Beetle. So Scoria and Beetle, there is a knock on your door.
Oh, one moment, and Scoria will finish wrapping herself in the periwinkle blue outfit and go and answer.
Beetle's still struggling with the buttons, but she's decent.
Get that? Yes.
There's a slim half elf man in servant's garb, gives you a polite bow, and says, "Apologies, ma'am. Letter for you." Is going to hand out a letter, and Beetle, if you would like to take it.
Oh yeah, Beetle, like you see her do the last few buttons. Give me a moment. Thank you, young man. And she'll take the letter.
If you'd like to open what you received.
Her slate
is
looks
so
like this awesome
fun.
seal. It's so, I'm gonna save it. It's so cool. All right, gotta be gentle, 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 gentle. Ooh, okay. Watch me fumble live with this. Ooh. Her Majesty Vania Panellian, ace of the slumbering mountains, the hidden air, first of the Wayhill Post, Queen of Vendere, cordially extends her deepest condolences for any and all inconveniences suffered and invites you to a gathering in your honor, curated to a theme of your choosing, to be held at
At the evening of Thursday the 6th, please enclose e- everyone with you selected the theme and required necessities for the event. Well, that sounds official. And I also probably butchered some of those pronunciations.
No worries.
Well, I imagine we should gather with everybody else to talk about that. And
Yes, we all have to pick a theme and submit them to a queen. I wasn't even aware that parties have themes.
oh, Beetle, you have so much to learn.
Really, a party is just a party. There's cake. Sometimes there's a woman who takes her clothes off, or a man. Depends what you
Please,
prefer.
no taking your clothes off, Beetle. This is not that kind of party.
Shame. Very well. Shall we inform the others that not only have we received an apology, an official one, mind you, but we're going to a party?
Yes, and we should also let Tibby know.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
She probably will know more about what kind of themes would be acceptable than some of us might.
The servant bows and says, if deliberation is in order, I'll return in a few hours.
Oh, yes, please. We must consult with our whole party. It's a very equal footing standing, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Time. The last time a character in Maria's invited my character to a party, I got attacked by multiple shadow beings.
Also, as the servant leaves, Beetlebug just looks at Scoriel and just,
that woman's handwriting was terrible.
Of course, out of character Maria, it was so beautiful. Oh my god.
Scoria just kind of shakes her head at her and says, well, keep that opinion here between us. We don't want to be offending anybody.
You're so sensitive. Your flowery text could. Yes, I suppose we should inform the others and Tibby. Shall we, my dear?
Bug, we are here as political people. We're supposed to be highbrow, if you will.
Yes, but so I'm taking my break here because if I don't, I'm going to smash a wine glass over someone's head.
Very well.
You kind of see out of the corner of your eye, like just ants, a few other bugs, like a small moth, like slowly marching towards the newly clean beetle, trying to like spot in her folds.
It's like how sloths have like 40 species of moths on them. They're all just live on Beetlebug. Well, Beetle's gonna offer arms. Shall we, my dear?
Scory will kind of look at her and be like, it puts her arm underneath Beetle's to help keep her upright as they walk. But we'll go and knock on everybody else's door and say, we do have a letter from the Queen, but we should meet with Tibby while we go over all this with everybody.
Absolutely.
Yes, you can think of themes. I won't say for what, but just have them on your brain.
Themes. All right.
As we knock on Han's door, he opens the door and he's still like in the middle of brushing his hair and like making braids with it and stuff. And he's like, all right.
Would you like some help, Han? I'm very good with braiding.
Thank you, but no thank you.
Very well. We will be in Tibby's room when you're ready.
Julian has made herself look entirely different than when she showed up. She is dressed to the nines. She's got like a Vertogen green like bitchin' suit on, and has like her hair it's like a full blowout. You don't know how it happened, but it looks like incredible. Her makeup is great, and she's like confident. Yeah, no longer covered in sludge.
Yeah, Scory's absolutely in the periwinkle blue. Like she's draped it over her corsetry, and the metal spine is still very obvious in the back. And still has on her purple boots with it though. But cleaned. She used prestidigitation a few times. And her hair just automatically is always lovely because it's fire. Nothing's gonna stick in it. and then has touched up her makeup.
Brasco has gone from, very subdued leathers. He's removed. I think he's the kind of man who looks like he's always prepared, but he has changed to, black dress pants, a vest with a black shirt underneath, and then he has twined two pieces of fabric together, the periwinkle and the green, and kind of tucked them into the breast pocket of the vest, and he looks not thrilled, but he's probably got like 2 or 3 daggers hidden on him somewhere.
Yeah, it was a fight to get Beetle to wear something nice because she has feelings about wearing certain kinds of clothes. But she is wearing it is a robe of the combined colors, and really it looks like a bathrobe from the way she's worn it. She did not wear it correctly. She did the buttons, but she kind of gave up at the sash. She didn't do anything fancy, so she just has both ends tied. But she tried, and that's really where the effort lay.
Oh, Brasco also smells fantastic. He pulled out his whole. Shout out to Maria who drew his cosmetic kit. He's got he shaved, he fixed his hair, he
polished his tusks.
He polished the tusks out. Gave him a little file. Looks great. He smells like a good cologne. Looks great.
That's great. Newly fresh. You guys can convene in whatever room you'd like if you'd like to discuss something. If you wanted to grab Tibby first or speak without her.
We probably went down to Tibby's room and asked if she would join us in one of the sitting areas since I see a couple of them.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have a plan on what you want to say to everybody?
I think if we keep it short and simple, there was an accident. Already mentioned the mist, so we'll just say that this purple mist, shunted us somewhere we shouldn't have been, and we found the other politicians, and based on what they had, we were able to escape. And I think we leave it at that.
Their sacrifice proved to help us get home, and we wish condolences to their families. There are no thoughts and prayers, yada, yada, yada.
Do we
But of
even
course, we'll say it much more nicely.
We are not magical. Go ahead, sorry.
well should we even mention that they were the other politicians? Should we keep it?
I already said that in front of
Yeah.
everybody.
That's true.
so-
Okay, yes.
We utilized what they had in order to reorient ourselves back into where we were supposed to be. We are not magical experts, but we somehow put our heads together. We put our heads together and we figured it out. And we came out in the wrong room.
And we apologize for that.
Yes, we
But
didn't mean.
here we are, and we are more than ready to go about these
Take
negotiations.
up our duties.
We'd like to pretend that didn't happen and move on.
But also on that note, we did have a letter delivered to our room. The Queen has invited us to a party. I imagine it's a few days away.
It isn't
Yes,
2
the
days.
8th.
believe.
Let me see.
Beetle pulls up letter, makes a big point of wiggling it.
Yes, she said 8 on the 6th. See, I'm old. My mind is muddled. And that we were to pick a theme, so perhaps we will acquiesce to you about what's appropriate, because all I can think of is having a few live elven men dancing.
Cohen just looks at her and just scowls.
It's an
Well, not
option.
you. That's why I didn't mention you. You're neither live nor the type of elf I like.
Great. Wonderful. But I would not like to witness any of that.
But the main thing is she would like us to pick a theme for the party and include any items that God damn it, Beth.
I'm sorry,
Sorry,
but an
side
enemies
check.
to lovers within the party would be amazing.
I was
Beetle
just
and Home
thinking-
forever.
I had the same thought where I was like, they're gonna fall in love.
Yeah, they are.
But Scoria continues with she'd like us to pick a theme and include any items that we feel would be necessary, I guess, for it. And the servant who delivered the letter will be back in a couple hours to get our answers on that so they can prepare.
Enchantment under the sea, Dan.
I would,
That's a Back to the Future joke.
I would probably take whatever you guys suggested and I just sort of flesh it out and submit a proper proposal. So if you just want to give me ideas, I can give them to, the Queen's people. I'm not sure how much you know about the Queen.
No,
Very
I'd
little.
love to know more.
Probably what they went over with us in classes in Vertoe.
Yes.
I'm sure that they told us quite a bit about her, but
Yeah.
Mostly it was about like what you needed to do for the peace treaty and customs.
oh, gotcha. Okay.
You don't know a ton about her. You were educated by politicians who assumed you had the background of a politician when none of you do. So a lot of the really basic stuff you might need explained to you.
What was the queen's name again?
Vanya Dandelion,
Anya-
but you would refer to her as Your Majesty unless she specifically directs you to do so otherwise.
Of course.
All right, just Your Majesty, not Your Grace, my lady, any of that.
No, those are different titles.
Your Majesty.
I don't. It's all the same to me. Whatever, Your Majesty, whatever.
Right. Yeah, just Majesty. So she was the niece of the previous king, but she was sent to a monastery in the Slumbering Mountains as a toddler because her parents orchestrated a failed coup and they feared assassination. And they were assassinated, and most of her family is dead, and she's the only heir apparent. So she presented herself upon the last king's death, and she has taken monarchy. I think the only reason she hasn't been deposed is because she hasn't named an heir and she hasn't taken an offer of marriage. There are a lot of potential alliances and potential power to be made. She also hasn't named a council. So there are a lot of people who think this could be beneficial for them, and no one's really sure where they stand with her, and that's what's keeping her alive right now. So she's been very hesitant to make any public decisions. No one's really sure what's going to earn her favor or where to stand with her.
I mean, I love me a mysterious woman who keeps people guessing.
Besides monastery women, you know how they get. They score in. Beetlebug just sort of elbows her. Of course, I won't say that in front of the queen. Tibby is probably regretting every decision she's made up to this point.
I don't understand. Are you from a monastery?
I will have to show you some of the literature that I've read before, but for now.
Do we know anything about just things the queen likes?
Yes,
just
is there a theme that would play to her interests?
Just does she have a favorite color? Maybe
I don't know. I know she's been, wearing Fenderan colors since she got here. She seems to like sweets. I know she I guess just ate whatever they could grow in the garden at the monastery. She doesn't seem used to customs.
Well, if she's kind of mysterious and people don't know much about her, maybe a masquerade would be fun.
Yes, you can kiss whoever you like. Be whoever you like.
Is that risky though, if we're trying to seem as forthright as possible with our intentions?
also, if she's in a precarious political position, putting her in a spot where she's wearing a mask and others are wearing masks around her may not be the best idea.
All right.
Then.
It does sound like a lot of fun.
Oh
Maybe-
yeah, it's always a good time. But yeah, I'm siding with Julian on this one. It's not a great plan.
Perfect way for assassins to get in.
She hasn't been going around without guards. It would be very obvious who she was, even if it was a masquerade.
Well, and if we do a masquerade where it's not even you wear the mask, it's a mask on a stick.
How about imagine? Let's put it maybe like this. How about we do a theme that is just if you were stuck in a monastery for your whole life and you never really got to party, so to speak.
Exuberance.
Exuberance.
Absolute
Maybe the theme can be festival.
Yes.
You know, we get some street dancers, or well, maybe not street dancers, but entertainment, real sort of have fun sort of thing.
I mean, Fendere is known for just excellent food. We can make sure that it's, you know,
Yeah, we
everywhere.
get good food, we get some good music.
Corey will look at Tibby and be like, Tibby, do they have any festivals that are big celebrations that they do here in Fendere?
The solstices and equinoxes. I mean, we could propose a new holiday in honor of a peace treaty, maybe.
Yes,
Ooh.
a friendship
Oh.
day. Friendship between the two nations. We could actually, why don't we combine both cultural aspects?
Yes.
Street foods from one, street foods from another, wind the national colors, that sort of, people like that sort of patriotism, so I'm told. It'll flatter everyone. And give the queen a bit of fun, which I imagine she doesn't get with all these stuffy types.
I really do think a good thing for her.
Festival of Peace.
Like
Yes.
that. Would that be too heavy-handed?
Oh, no. They're inbred here. We need to be as heavy-handed as possible.
Yeah, I say we let them know we'd like to do a festival of unification.
There we go. That's perfect.
The Unity
know?
Festival.
There we go. Then we tell them to periwinkle and green. We try and get foods from both cultures, and
Flowers native to both lands.
if we can, in the
music.
time, and
Yeah,
music,
I mean,
and some entertainment, and we just have a good. I do think she might really like a slightly less stuffy affair. Something just a little more fun.
Okay. What's the dress code?
Fun, casual. We are all equals.
Well, maybe
And,
not full casual because
We
this
are
is still supposed
politicians.
to be. Yes.
How about fancy casual? You know, like a nice dress, but but room to dance. I don't know what that's called.
I mean, you could give like a costume description, if or something a little more specific, maybe.
Maybe costumes of the various fauna of each of the countries, and we dress
Ooh.
like animals.
Or we could also just do bright colors. Bright colors is nice.
Yeah.
like I said, flag colors, national colors, that sort of thing, with a national dish.
But there still needs to be a little more whimsy to it, I think is what Tibby's getting at.
Oh, I see. Very. Gotta give
No.
them fun. They're like children.
How
It doesn't have
about
to
we
be- people just need to know what it means.
let's call it, I think, casual.
Vibrant elegance, colorful, but
Okay.
still,
Vibrant.
yeah.
Dress in whatever you never get to wear.
Mm.
What do you not get to wear? Wear that.
What was the
Okay.
coolest outfit you could imagine when you were 6 years old? That is what you'll wear to this
Yes.
party.
These are all very different themes.
Tibby, we trust that you'll be able to put together something absolutely beautiful. Obviously, we want to maintain our esteemed stature as politicians, but we'd also like to convey a feeling of joy and
How about
Togetherness?
this? Theme can be Festival of Unity, and then dress code be fanciful.
ooh,
Fanciful
That-
light, like a dream.
Does that sound sort of
Ethereal.
reasonable?
Yes.
Fanciful Festival of Unity. I think that
yes.
encompasses a lot of ideas.
Okay.
Poor Maria.
Poor Maria writing down all this bullshit.
Just like,
Poor
damn it,
Maria.
what art do I have to create for this shit?
I'm
You
trying
guys.
to condense it down into 3 words.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let them know. Um, is there anything else to your story that I should know about? I really don't know how to react to this. This isn't what I was trained for.
Oh, Tibby,
Ascoria's
that's
gonna go and hug her knee and be like, "It's okay, Tibby. This isn't what we were prepared for either."
none
Yeah,
of
we
this
Like,
makes any sense, but we will do our best. The
Yes.
only other thing that I could note was when we were going through the circle, the colors around it were green and white, I believe. I don't know if that means anything to you or to anyone. Um,
I mean, they're associated with the goddess Fiava, but I can't think of what she would have been doing in a pocket dimension.
Hmm.
well, that's something to look into.
Oh, uh, something that I'm sure maybe we can do. I know we have to keep a little bit quiet, but I'm sure it would be nice for the families of the former politicians to know exactly what happened to them. Maybe
Well,
we
one of
can.
our tenants that they kind of sent us out to, the information they wanted us to find out was what happened to the other politicians. So we've already succeeded technically at one of our goals.
Yes. Already successful.
Hmm.
Okay. I'm just a little worried about that happening, whoever's behind it not giving up, especially if the king is their eventual target.
Well,
If they are targeting it as teleportations and he's teleporting, then it is a worry. I do agree with you, Tibby.
Right. Okay. What are your next steps? How are you going to figure this out? I'm going to be in meetings all day, me and the other two who are working to assist me. But I will be organizing things. For example, I'll be sending orders about the party. I can try and get you information. I'll see if I can get a write up done from our scribe of some of the political figures you'll be running into.
that
Is
would be very
there
helpful.
is there anyone we should go and speak with or mingle with?
Or anyone we should avoid in particular?
I
Or should
mean,
we just stay in these rooms for a little while?
the politicians that were originally on the voyage, I mean, if they were, when I was there, everyone seemed so nice. And honestly, they haven't done anything noteworthy or warranted in criminal activity since then. At least not that I can tell. I know our borders are kept pretty separate though, so it could be they all have something going on. Um,
Can you tell us about the two people in the other room that's next to Beetlebug and Gloria's room?
of course, that's Vishmish and Fig. Vishmish, his parents kind of got him the job. He's working technically as a junior politician, but really he's just taking notes for me. Um, I was asking for someone more competent, but he pulls some strings, and His Majesty is not great at saying no to people when they're really pushy. And then there's Fig, who's she's been a Victorian diplomat for a little while, not that long. But yeah, again, she's kind of pushy. So there's um, Fig is all right. She means well, and she has some set things that she really wants for this treaty that I think she's probably going to fight you on if you don't agree with her. Um,
And these
but
are from Vertohen or Fenderin?
they came with me.
Okay.
The three of us were going to be in meetings discussing potential specifics of treaties, and we're going to be talking about what we're going to be exchanging some goods potentially. So we'll be negotiating for that.
Well,
We're not confined to these rooms, are we? Do we have any
So,
business we should be attending to?
I mean, figure out anyone who might hurt the king and stop them before he gets here.
I think that
Alright.
perhaps maybe just asking one of the servants if we could get a tour of the area and start, sniffing out where certain players might already be.
Here's a question. Is there anyone here at this gathering that was also there 20 years ago?
Yes, me. And I can give you information on a lot of these people because I did know them and I had dealings with them in preparation for the first peace treaty. So if you have any questions about their background up until the last 20 years, I should be able to fill you in.
Yeah, I'd
Um,
love to know some more about them and their particular. Yeah, I'd like to know whatever you have on them.
Of course. Well, there's Allian Kane. And he's an elf. So all of these politicians represent portions of Findere that are coming together to sway or influence the queen. She hasn't chosen anyone for her council yet, so it's possible they might be replaced. A lot of them have political sway just from being here so long, though. So it might be difficult for her to replace them, or there might be backlash. But I know they're all worried about their position. To give you an idea, Allian represents the grotto, or at least he represented the towns that used to be in the grotto. So there were three main cities: Bevere, Moharven, and Farvane. Um, um, the name Farvane seems familiar to you, but that's about it. He's keeps to himself. He seems pretty secretive. He was married, like 80 years ago. He's a widower. Um, he seems to want a lot of repair and research done into the grotto. I don't know the extent of it, but that's what I've heard so far. Um, he attends a lot of events, but he doesn't really make himself known. And this is just me asking around the past few days. There's Romlin Nor, human. He took his father's place as a representative, and he was pretty young when the vessel sent out. I remember him being kind of a jerk. But he recently, in the past 20 years, apparently adopted some children, and he's not on good terms with his family right now. Emma Mantel, she wasn't on the vessel, but she's the bodyguard to the queen, so she's a good name to know.
What was the name of that? Sorry, you're muffling every so often.
I'm sorry, making my connection. Emma Venhill. Lernan Adair. She's a dwarf. She's been around forever. But she's pretty unaffected. She mostly represents Fairwind and the surrounding trade routes, so most of the south of the nation. And she doesn't have a lot to do with the war. From what I've heard, she wants peace. If he wants peace. Lannon Parson, he's half human, half gnome. He's fairly new to the political scene. He represents Modis, Daria, and the Iris Mountains over here. Chief exports are teas and flowers. Lenore Diem, sorry, not Lenore Diem, Lenore Delmoine. She represents I believe from the Bergamot to Larry, so the west side of the Larry Cove. And then her counterpart, Therese, represents the eastern side. They've been having some issues with pirates lately, so they've been mostly out of office, but they've returned for this potential peace negotiation. Bologna represents from Breen to Farmont. Bartholomew, he's also been around for a while. He represents the foremost Severe and Javier. So this area. And then Voris Kip represents the northeastern lands. The queen presides over the cities that are directly over here.
Would it be? Sorry, I'm sorry, Maria. I don't know if it's my computer or just the connection. Would you be able to copy that stuff down and send it to me?
Yeah, I'll write up something about each of the politicians and try and get it to you soon.
Yeah, no rush. I looked at my notes and I was like, this is all choppy, and I know I spelled the names wrong, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that I'm like this.
No, it's a lot of information. Yeah, I'll try and get it to you. Okay. I mean that's everyone, but I would imagine that either somebody had a proxy, a sailor, a servant. The servants, sailors, the help were not accounted for on that voyage. There wasn't record taken. So either my thoughts are it's either somebody who is a powerful figure here and is doing something to influence events, who had access to that spell scroll, who had access to something to do with the boat, and it used a proxy, or it's someone who was on that ship, or it's some other force that is targeting certain people for some reason. And if that's the case, we need to figure out who's being targeted and why before it gets worse or before the king is targeted.
I think it might be, I don't know. What do you think about us doing a tour all together as a group so that it doesn't ever seem like any one of us are snooping? We don't want that, obviously, but I think showing ourselves outside of our quarters here would be a sign of confidence. And so perhaps, in that we'll be able to have maybe more casual conversations with some of these people that we want information from, um, as opposed to, formal meetings and sit downs or anything like that.
Yeah, if you want to, you definitely can. I mean, it's my job to advise you, but you have free reign here. It whatever methods you use to investigate things, I'm not really mostly I take notes and I help His Majesty with a few different things around the palace. So I mean, my reason for hiring you is that you guys have solved mysteries like this before, and you guys have gotten to the bottom of darker things, and most importantly, you seem capable of protecting His Majesty.
Maybe
Once His Majesty gets to
you're doing a great job. I hope you know that. I
Really, yes, I do not envy your
seems very
position.
difficult, but you're doing great work.
Questions we're asking are just to help us make sure that we don't step on any of the wrong toes, especially yours.
Mhm.
to keep His Majesty alive.
We'll do everything we can.
Right. Um, I'm not sure how much you know about the Vertohen throne, but he won't have his powers when he comes here because he won't be in Vertohen. So it is
Okay.
very important that he is kept safe once he arrives.
Is there anything in particular, beyond the obvious that we can do to make sure that happens?
Don't let him out of your sight. Bodyguard him. Figure out who might hurt him and stop them.
Sure.
Stick to him like a
I
bad
can't
case
say
of the pox.
Well, before he gets here, we should take our tour, talk to some people, and start asking, not pointed questions, but starting to ferret out information and looking into what's going on.
Yes.
okay. All right. I'm going to take this party invitation and move elsewhere. I think it'll be a while before dinner. If you want to maybe try to speak with somebody or discover something tonight, you can. Um, tomorrow I think is mostly going to be party preparation, and I'm going to be busy. I believe it says on the invitation that you can let them know if you need anything in particular. If you would like to commission a costume or a prop or anything you would like to have with you for this event, I can relay that information, but I would need to know soon because I have a lot of tailors and seamstresses, but it's short turnaround time.
Sure.
Okay.
Well,
Certainly.
I'll leave you guys to think about this a minute. I believe a messenger will be returning for your answer along with the theme soon.
Yes.
So I'll give you time to think, and then um,
It's
yeah.
the
Well, I
shadow
have
elf that has been seen around here, the in the servants' colors.
he's been Darren. Try and send one of the Vertogen servants next time if you can. I don't trust them.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, he's the one that approached us, so
Hmm.
Right. Well, he'll see you soon. With that, let's go ahead and cut to break, and we'll resume in like 5 or 10 minutes with whatever verdict you guys have reached, and we'll continue from there.
woohoo.
All right, and we're back. We'll pick up. I know you guys had been talking about outfits, but as the servant comes to collect any information or any requests that you have, would you like to describe what you would be like to be presented in?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Um, well, Julian's
or
wearing uh, another suit, a different suit, politician chic, but it's like a lovely, like almost navy, maybe a little bit lighter, and then the fabric is patterned all over with it's kind of like florals, and the pattern itself is it's got some shimmer to it, um, and it's just awesome.
all right.
Gloria's outfit is so she'll still have on her thigh-high purple boots and her purple corset, but then over top of it is a dress with uh that kind of forms around the corset at the top and has like periwinkle sheer fabric over top of everything, and then it's the deeper green of Vertogen underneath to combine the two, and then there's like some little flowers placed all around it, and it's very flowy and whimsical, and but still gives her access, like she has little slits cut into it to reach her playing cards in the top of her boots.
Oh,
Han.
Beetlebug. Oh, go ahead on.
All right. So he's wearing his colors are mostly like white and sky blue. So he's wearing like a tailcoat with like a frilly collar thing. And he has and just for he has his hair kind of like in braids, um, falling back behind him. And just because he's got a veil cape. So yeah.
All right. Beetle.
Oh, Beetle. Beetle. There was, as there usually is when it comes to wearing certain types of attire, a bit of a fight. But Beetle did acquiesce on something a little more from her time when she was younger, and she did not realize what hell she'd gotten herself into. So as Beetle is presented, she is just stiffly standing in this flowery, when you think of Southern Belle's presentations like that, there is a wreath of flowers around her shoulders, a whaleboned dress. It is perfect for you can tell she has been scrubbed till she is shining, and her face shows exactly how she feels about that. Pure rage. Just barely concealed.
And Brasco, what would you like to order?
Brasco is going to get a relatively simple suit, dress pants and a vest with a sort of a flowy sort of undershirt, the kind with the sort of billowy sleeves. But then he especially wants a sort of knee-length, almost pea coat, sort of sailors kind of, with the popped collar and the wide lapels with a so it can have a strong sort of shoulder in shades of just black, but the inside of the coat I would like one half to be green and the other half to be the periwinkle of each country.
Nice.
Right. The servant furiously taking down notes as you described, meticulously what each of you would like, just kind of nodding frantically. Gives you a kind of confused smile. I'll see if I can have that done for you in time. We'll keep you posted on any details. And you would notice Hone, as he kind of says it to you, he's peering a little bit around the doors to kind of see what setup you guys have, giving you a polite nod before turning and leaving. Tibby gives you a smile. Says, "Well, can I introduce you to everyone here while I have you?" Here, she marches down to another one of the doors and knocks. And a very young-looking dragonborn. Dragonborns mature fairly quickly, but you can tell that he's young. There's no aging or signs of shedding on his scales. He's like a bright, sort of almost bronzish red, almost shiny. Just kind of peers his head around the door eagerly, pulling glasses down to get a better look at everybody. Huge glasses. Do you need something? And Tibby smiles and says, "This is Fish Fish. This is the junior politician with us. And Fig." And there's a coughing sound, and as the door opens wider, this billow of smoke comes out of it. And you guys peer around to see this satyr in her late 30s just sort of lounging against one of the chairs with a pipe in her hand. Gives you guys a suck nod before going back to her pipe. Tibby gives a tight smile and says, "This is Fig of the Wandering Hill." Fig says, "You need something? Come to bother me." He says, "I just wanted to introduce you. These are the other people you'll be working with, Fig." No response. Fig just kind of puffs her pipe, staring Tibby down, and Tibby quickly averts her eyes and says, "Anyway, and then let me introduce you to the servants." So she brings you through. There's a motley of servants. One thing you would notice is that each of the servants are a different species, and they are not necessarily humanoid. You start to get the impression that these people were picked as representatives of the Vertohan culture, and not necessarily in order to blend in with Fendere. There's a centaur who is a miniature pony in her late 60s. There's a bugbear in his mid 30s, and then two other middle-aged minotaur and hobgoblin, all of which seem polite enough, but you can tell that they're used to dealing with potentially royalty. These may have been picked from the king's sort of personal fleet of servants. So you get the impression that they're kind of okay with anything. They're not overwhelmed by you. They're very polite. You get the impression that if you need something, you can ask them for it, but they do have their own things that they're going to be doing.
Sure.
Tibby kind of looking around, you giving you a smile. Well, I know you can take care of yourself, so I don't I want to push. But if you want me to accompany you, I can. But I also do have a lot of work to do for the king. I'm trying to ward his rooms.
Tibby, you go ahead and get the work you need done doing, and we'll find somebody that can give us the tour.
So if you guys want to ask the servants, they can wander around and sort of show you things in an official capacity, but they've also only been here about 3 days. So if you want to go back to the palace and just look around for some, like a servant who's already there, you can conscript someone. It's up to you how public you want to be about this.
Are there any of the Fenderi servants still in our quarters or around them?
There was just the one Fenderan servant who delivered the letter,
Gotcha,
but this is their Tohin diplomat's estate.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think it might be in our interest to have someone from Fendere show us around. Our interest
my
might be
thought.
a gesture of good faith, hopefully.
Okay.
I say that we walk back over to the palace and, I mean, we know what the servant's outfit looks like, and we just ask one of them if there's somebody available to give us a tour, show us around.
Great.
Yes.
You guys can
Catch up
You
with
could
the
make-
locals, as it were.
make your way over to the palace. Pretty soon you see a servant walking along one of the garden paths leading to and from the various estates. The palace is separated into a few different pieces, and then there are the diplomat's estates sort of progressively stationed farther and farther away. You do see somebody on the path. She gives you a curt smile and a nod when you pull her over and ask for a tour. She gives a worried glance, like in the direction she was heading, but then a polite smile and a small curtsy. And yeah, of course. Anything you need. Where would you like to be?
Sorry.
Where would you like to be?
Scoria is like, well, we would like to see the palace, what we're able to see, because it is a gorgeous palace. Maybe some of the gardens, and just, we want to get a feel for Fendere.
Everything that is Mandara, its very essence, dear. And if you wouldn't mind, speak a bit loudly. I am an old woman.
All right. Come on then. And
It's too much trouble. You don't have to.
my pleasure. It leads you through a winding garden path. You guys get the sense pretty quickly that the gardens here are designed almost like a maze. And a few of you may be able to sort of barely see over them, but there are so many paths and like various things with multiple various heights. There are a lot of arches that you step through, a couple like covered paths with like sort of rings of bushes. You get the impression that these are manicured for the sake of privacy or perhaps for the sake of not being seen. So as you're kind of wandered through, it's you keep a general idea of like where the main path is, but a lot of the other branching pathways, not necessarily. She's calling out as she speaks, like, this is the rose garden, this is the garden of the lilies, this is a couple stand out is medicinal. There is a poison patch where there are like poisonous plants and herbs that are cultivated. There are a few that are just for medicinal. On the opposite side, it's sort of like a lot of these are very rare, and they're from all over Findere, and they've been cultivated in like separate sections and patches. Kind of looking around. I guess it's up to you. What are you guys specifically looking for? Did you want her to show you something in particular? Did you want to interact with somebody? Did you want to talk amongst yourself or look for something in this area? I'll kind of leave it up to you where this.
If it's allowed, I'd love to take a look through the poison garden.
Sure. Yeah, you can ask for a halt. So wait, as you carefully survey it.
Yeah, I'd like to go through and just kind of see if there's anything that's familiar from the demiplane at all.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, make a nature check.
Someone would like to help.
That's very exciting, quite frankly.
As will Yeah, I was about to say, but I don't believe I can assist, so best of luck with that. I will offer my luck.
First thing in the world, I don't really know what my nature is, but straight. There we go. Yeah. It's a 15.
Okay. I mean, you do see, I think, flame root, which you had seen around before. The demiplane was mostly fungi, I believe, in regards to the poisonous thing. You do see a couple poisonous mushrooms, but it doesn't seem like they're cultivating the same plant as the demiplane here.
Okay.
Okay.
If they see you're interested in them, however, the servant kind of looks over and says, "You like poison?"
I don't know if like is exactly the word. It's an interesting garden to cultivate. I've never
Intriguing.
personally seen a poison garden, so I just wanted to take a look.
You're not permitted to pick anything. Only the gardeners are allowed to touch it.
I didn't want anything. Has anybody
Why
ever told
did they
me
create
that
a
you?
poison garden?
What?
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
Why
You
did they?
go with- You were talking.
I was gonna say, has anyone ever told you have a sparkling personality?
And vibrant.
Yeah, I could tell.
If you have somewhere that you need to be, I mean, please, you can be on your way. We're hoping to get the lay of the land here. Hate to keep you.
Nope.
Cool. Okay.
Don't think I should leave people alone in the poison garden.
Oh,
Yeah,
we can
no,
leave the poison
we're- yeah,
garden. I
we're
frankly don't
fine.
want to be here.
Well,
Mhm.
I'm curious. Why was this poison garden created? Was it curiosity or personal supply?
The king liked collecting plants. Collected a lot of different plants.
Hmm.
A lot of botanists, a lot of herbalists here.
I see.
Can Scoria make a check to see if any of these, not even necessarily in the poison garden area, but if any of the plants that she can currently see have any resemblance to the purple mist?
Yeah, sure. You can make an Arcana check.
We're very good at those.
Aren't we just?
Big numbers, no whammies. Oh, that's not bad. That's a 16.
They don't seem to be, but looking around for some of this stuff, the servant does like kind of squint. Are you looking for something in particular?
Oh, it's just I've been intrigued by this I keep seeing a purple mist in my dreams, and I've just been keeping an eye out for it.
You know, symbolism and all that. Like, if you're born under their star sign, you're destined for fate. She's quite into that esoteric stuff. I quite don't understand it. I'm an old woman after all.
There's a grotto greenhouse that might have something like that, but you have to wear a special mask to go in.
I mean, if we're allowed to see it, I would love to at least take a quick look. I will wear a mask gladly.
I don't want to breathe that stuff, but go ahead. He leads you not too much farther away, just kind of around the bend. And you do see there is a greenhouse, but much of the greenhouse is fogged up. And there are spores kind of growing up on the sides of it. So it's difficult to see inside. She shows you there's like a small, like little window where you can open it up. And there's a cubby that has a bunch of different sort of like masks. And this is like full on headgear. Think like steampunk diving.
Huh.
Scoria's going to put on one of the full-on headgear masks and step in for a minute.
You open the door and there's a sign in like 4 different languages that says like, please close door quickly behind you.
So yeah, she goes in and just closes it real quick.
You look around and the entire shelves, like there are pots, but clearly like gardeners have given up on keeping things in pots as like all of this mildew and mold, mostly purple and green in nature, has slowly started spilling out of it and crawling up and around the walls. that you do see a number of fungi, and there is a purple haze just sort of present the entirety of the greenhouse.
Does it look like the purple mist that either took us to the pocket dimension or possibly in the pocket dimension that like made me feel stronger?
The sort of haze that was in the pocket dimension, yes.
Good to know. Good to know. She'll step out and close the door again really quickly and remove the headgear and replace it and be like, "Thank you. That was very illuminating."
Is that so?
Welcome. Beetle, uh, looking at Scoria, you notice that her tattoos are glowing a little bit more brightly.
Oh yeah, dear,
Would I know what that means in particular?
No, I haven't really seen this that often before. She was glowing a little bit in the demi-plane, but
We walked through the mist that made me feel stronger, but made you all feel sick.
Scoria, dear, are you quite well? Your skin is doing
Oh, it's
the
just an
brightly glowing thing
excitement.
again. What were you doing in that plant house?
It's adrenaline from learning something because it's very interesting.
Of course. Well, my knees are starting to give out. Would you like to walk me back to our group?
Oh, certainly. And she'll again go over and like take her arm and like lift it up underneath Beetle's so that Beetle's kind of leaning on her.
And the
walk.
moment we're close together, she's gonna say,
So, what did you see? Did you see anything of interest? Anything that looked like we had seen in that pocket dimension?
The mist that we had to walk through at the last area we were in to find the last piece. That same mist is in that greenhouse.
Intriguing. It
That's why
might be
I'm
worth
telling.
asking a gardener. Yes, of course. It might be worth asking who maintains that garden house, or particularly where it was discovered. We'll play it off as mild interest, of course. Alchemist, old woman's interests. But this does not bode well for peace, I will tell you that much.
Well, it doesn't necessarily go against it, but it's more just an intriguing note uh, as to how it came to be here.
True. But still, it seems a lot for just a coincidence. It's a heavy burden for the word to carry.
Well, yes, obviously, but I mean, it definitely bears some questioning, just not pointed questioning, as it were.
Of course. Just what intriguing varieties you have. We'll be able to plot this out with the others.
Yes. And a little bit louder to the servant. Well, thank you very much for showing us all the gardens. Is there anything else that you think, as visiting politicians, we should see?
Yes, but see, what makes this place truly home for you?
I mean, I can take you inside if you want. I truly hope I live here.
We can, I think, take it from here. Perhaps we can go, I'll say to the group, perhaps we can go find one of the other diplomats to converse with.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Thank you very much for showing us around. It was illuminating.
You're welcome.
Scoria is going to take 5 silver pieces and pass them off to the servant who showed us around and be like, thank you so much for your time and for taking the time away from your duties to show us around.
Her eyes go pretty wide at the tip. She hastily takes it and puts it in her pocket. She gives you a very polite smile. It was my pleasure. Anytime you need something.
Can I make an insight check to see if she if she's annoyed by us for any particular reason, or if it's just a general demeanor kind of thing?
Yeah,
Beetlebug would like to do so as well. If there's any particular person talking or even line of questioning she doesn't like.
Yeah.
I guess while they're looking into that, Cone will just like kind of he'll just ask, but not very joyfully, like for her name, just like, "What's your name?"
Yeah, that's a nat one on my part. I don't notice anything.
21 for me.
You get the sense that she's grown up being told that, your people were monsters most likely, and she's forced to be polite to you.
Well, that sucks. Okay.
Is it more genuine after she gets the coins from Scoria?
See, she definitely seems surprised that you tipped her.
Okay. All right.
Before she goes, I do want to just kind of go. We are here in the interest of peace. You're someone who's grown up and around here. You obviously would know this place probably better than anyone, especially since you're not royalty. Is there anything you'd like to tell us that maybe we can address when we're going forward with our duties here? Or is there anything you're interested in maybe trying to push up the chain of command?
Make a persuasion check.
Ooh.
I will help by my tip.
Love that.
You can make a persuasion check because you tipped her.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Fair.
Well, that's not bad, actually. I usually have really shitty ones. It's still gonna have a negative modifier though. 17.
Okay. She looks you up and down, like reassessing. You get the sense like she's very taken aback by what you said. I don't know, like better wages, I guess. And you get the sense that you've caught her off guard. She's not entirely sure, but you definitely left an impression.
All right. Well,
let me know if you guys need anything.
Well,
All
thank you again so much for your time. And by the way, I'm Scoria, and if you find out anything that you think we might like to know, we would appreciate a heads up.
Devon-
Don't be a stranger.
Your name?
Beetlebug.
sorry. Well,
What?
What was it, Maria?
phone asked for the name, and then all I heard was Beetlebug.
I thought I really heard the other part of it. I think I cut out a little bit. I'm so sorry.
Debana Forshhammer.
Oh.
Okay. Oh wait. Great.
Oh,
Look, I'm not a
no.
smart woman.
It's okay. All right. Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Have a good one.
Me too. She kind of reluctantly slips off, looking back behind her shoulder as she leaves.
Well,
Always best to get at least one of the staff on your side.
oh, absolutely. Do you think? I mean, I'd hate to have it seem like we're intruding, but do you think we could go into a common space and see if there's anyone there that we might be able to strike up a
Well,
conversation with?
before we do that, when I went into the greenhouse that she showed me,
Yeah.
that same mist that we walked through in the pocket dimension, the purple mist that
Wait,
made me glow.
before you say anything, can I check to see if there's anybody else in the area?
Fair. Scoria is trying to be quiet and just keep it to
Yeah.
us.
Unless
But,
you specify that before you speak, I'm going to assume you're speaking at a normal volume.
okay, good to know.
Yeah, you can make a check. Do you want to make an investigation check and really make a perimeter search, or did you want to cast
Yeah.
something?
I think he would want to check around to see if there's anybody around. Let me
Okay.
see. Yeah, okay, yeah. Investigation check.
Mhm.
Blink. That is a 15.
You see there's like a gardener kind of, not necessarily within hearing distance if you speak quietly, but it's not like the area is completely deserted.
Okay.
So yes, in a whisper, just amongst the group, because this is, not forbidden knowledge, but not knowledge that Scory would want spread. Uh, the mist that we walked through at the end there that made me all glowy, and you guys all felt sick, and I felt better. Uh, that same mist is in that greenhouse.
I don't know that I told you, um, but I've seen that mist before as well. Um, not necessarily in person, but in fever dreams that I have occasionally. I had one when we were back in the cave, and I saw the mist. I'm not exactly sure what it all means, but this is very interesting.
There's definitely a flow of connection somewhere.
Again, all too heavy for just a coincidence, if you ask me.
So we're looking for someone who either has access to these gardens or sorry, what did
Well,
you say a second ago, Julianne, about where you've seen the mist?
I've seen it in visions that I have, but the greenhouse was a representation of the grotto, correct?
Oh
So
yes.
so I
So
would imagine that this is something
Ooh,
naturally occurring in the
Perhaps the
grotto.
pocket
oh,
dimension is attached to the grotto in some form.
there was a dude. Hang on, hold on.
Dude.
Shit, who was the guy?
NPC,
No,
the
Farven. He keeps to himself, secret of Widowo, wants repair and research into the grotto.
mhm,
Oh,
mhm,
that was
mhm.
Alien Kane.
Mhm.
That was Alien Kane. Okay. Yes, okay. So Bresco's gonna go. Alien Kane was the one who wants research into the grotto.
Well,
He
he does
represents.
represent
He
the
represents
grotto.
the grotto. Um,
He
he
wants
might.
to learn about the grotto to better help, it sounded like. But I mean, until we know otherwise, it sounded more like he just wanted to know to try and keep people safe, is how I saw it anyway.
Well, and if he represented a former city that used to stand where the grotto currently lies, um, maybe he would have an interest in how it became the way that it did. Um, if this
He would be a good
smoke that
person
we're
to talk
seeing,
to, for sure.
absolutely,
Based on
assuming that he is here.
should be.
I believe he's here.
What we're looking for right now, I think, is we need to figure out who number one has a motive to try and keep peace away, the countries from peace, and
Mhm.
two, who has access to forge some sort of pocket dimension like this that is full of poison and danger from the grotto, presumably.
So
Who
we're
has
looking for a magic user.
we're looking for probably a magic user, somebody with access, and somebody with knowledge.
It's no small order.
No, but it at least narrows down our qualifications.
Well, then we should get talking.
Agreed.
We've got a lot of information to gather.
Did you say we saw a gardener?
Yeah, there's a gardener not too far away.
Can I kind of slink my way up to not slink? Just kinda
Sidle your way.
No.
skedaddle my way up to
Blink
him.
your way up there.
Uh,
Skitter your way up there.
I'm just gonna go up to the gardener and excuse me, pardon me. I'm one of the diplomats that are visiting, and we were just taking a look around. I was curious, is there anyone around here who specifically sort of works in and around these gardens? I'm just very sort of fascinated and would love to learn more about it.
The gardener, a fairly tall halfling, like kind of stands up, dusts off the dirt off his hands, says, "Well, it's my job to work in and around the garden."
Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I meant
No, I like my job.
no, no. Oh, that negative charisma modifier coming out good. I apologize. I meant more along the lines of, are there any of the other diplomats or council members or people who are interested in the garden specifically? The servant woman told us that the former king put those poison gardens into place. I'm just curious about if there's anyone who still takes an interest in that sort of thing.
Yes, consider it intercountry bonding. We have similar interests. We're showing interest in your history. After all, as diplomats, it does well to learn good of our allies. Yes, allies.
Okay, I mean, you don't have to explain it. It sounds like you're lying when you over-explain it like that. But yeah, I mean, there are a fair number of people who are interested. I know Lannon spends a fair amount of time in the gardens, but he's got his own gardens in his room, so not too much anymore lately. And then we've got Lenore and Maurice seem very interested in the gardens, especially the last few years.
All right. Well, then those are people we should probably talk to. Maybe learn a little bit more, right? Beetlebug.
Yes.
All right. I'm sorry that I apologize. I had a weird arrival here, and everything has sort of gotten me a little topsy turvy. And I'm gonna take out 5 silver and just give him 5 silver and say, I apologize that you had to interact with me today. And I'm just gonna walk away and leave.
Completely bewildered, kind of slowly puts the silver in his pocket.
I'm still working on a level of exhaustion, so
Fair.
I haven't slept yet.
Seeing Brasco like return to where the rest of us are standing, just looking
Head
a
in
mess.
hands.
Just I that was fine. I think you did a fine job.
Yes, but you just appear to be some sleepy,
I'm
overindulged politician.
I'm exhausted. But he did say that Lannon, Lenore, and Faris seem to have a vested interest in these gardens. So maybe those are some people we might want to take a little bit of a.
Well, at least Lenore and Faris were ones we already wanted to talk to. So, how about we make our way into the palace and ask about and see if we can't find some of these people?
All right. I'm gonna. Which one of you is very charismatic? I'll stick with you for a while.
I have a +4 to my charisma.
All right.
I'm just sticking with the group from now on.
Oh, you're doing great.
Well, that's what Beetlebug does. And it's kept her alive so far.
Every single character I think I've ever played has had a decent charisma. This is the first time I think in a very ever that I've had negative to my charisma, and like it's happening.
So you keep on wanting to go up and talk to people, and it's not working out so well.
I'm doing what Taliesin Jaffe did in campaign 2 Critical Role, where he was like, I'm playing this funny, crazy circus man, but he had been playing Percy DeRollo, and he was like, oh shit, I don't have a million charisma anymore. I'm a weird purple bastard. I'm a like 7 foot tall, bulky orc motherfucker.
All right, so Alice. And who are you asking around for specifically? I say,
As we walk in, Scoria does just want to look around first and see if anybody looks important or if it's just servants around. And if it is just servants, then ask one of them where uh, we might find some of the people we're looking for.
right. There are a number of guards at, like at the door if you want to just kind of look around and ask. This is a sweeping palace. There's a north, south, east, and west wing. So Lannon and Lenore and Faris. Oh, they're all on the west wing.
To the west wing.
Yeah, so Scoria just kind of walks up to one and just asks them, we just wanted to interact with some of the key political figures here. Could you have somebody show us to where they would be in the West Wing?
One of the guards kind of gives a sidelong look at another guard who gives a tiny shake of his head. And the guard says, right this way, ma'am. Leads you down a sweeping corridor, and soon you find yourselves in a familiar location. This is where you guys teleported to originally.
Oh, Lord.
Moving through the wing, he points out a number of suites. And these are like sets of rooms that long-term politicians live in. And there are 4 politicians in this wing. And he, points them out. So you've got Lannon, Lenore, and Faris over here. And just pointing out the different suites, the wing is divided into 4 sections, and there are a number of common areas. There's a bathhouse and steam room. There's, like a walking gardens, that's on the roof. There are a number of reasons for other people to be here, but there are only 4 permanent residencies. If you discount the servants' quarters, which there are a number of them. So,
Well,
gives you a curve.
Thank you so much for your help. And Scoria just kind of like gives a little slight bow, like not anything that's like showing a lot of respect, but just like a thank you bow.
Little confused, gives a slightly deeper bow.
and did you say are the 4 figures out and about here, or do they just point out where their quarters are? Okay.
So it's up to you if you would like to try and investigate the rooms, or if they're not home, or if you would like to try and find someone who is home who you can speak to. Those are the people who are in this wing.
I guess.
I think we should do this on the up and up.
Talk to
For
him first.
now.
Yes.
Beetle will grumble about it when we agree on doing it on the up and up, but I guess we have to be professional now.
Okay.
It might be a bit strange to just knock on someone's door to introduce ourselves, but maybe we can go to one of the common areas and see if anybody's around. The gardens up top, perhaps, or just another area. See if we can catch
take
anybody.
a walk through and see if we see anybody that looks other than the servants, and do it that way. But I mean, if not, I kind of feel like Lenore or Faris would be the better ones to try and find and talk to.
Sure.
I think it'd just be a lot more straightforward to just knock on the doors.
Well, I mean, we can go and knock and see if they're in there, but then
Sure.
go and look for them if they are not. And Scoria's going to take it upon herself to go and knock on the door that was pointed out that was Lenore's.
Okay. You knock on the door, and there's like a long pause. But she eventually does answer the door. You see Lenore Delmoine is a half-elf in her mid-30s. Beetle, you notice that she has kind of similar features to someone you know.
Oh no.
She she gives like a slight smile. She has, like sort of long flowing blonde hair. sort of a tall, lithe, willowy build. Gives you guys a slight smile, if not a little bit bemused. I'm just sort of like leaning against the door very casually. Um, can I help you?
Lenore, was it?
Yes.
The
You are.
moment she hears her voice, Beetle's eyes just widen. Oh no. Oh no, it's one of his.
Did
No,
she
no,
say
just
that out loud?
No, but like I actually can I roll to hide her reaction?
Sure.
Gonna make that a performance. Let's see how this goes.
Roscoe's just hanging in the back today. He said he's
That is a 5. Beetle is not hiding. Her
Okay. What would the rest of the party see as Beetle's reaction then?
It is shock, realization, horror, complete and utter horror.
Hone will kind of block her a little bit, just so like can't see her reaction and be like, "My lady, we wanted to introduce ourselves. First of all, sorry for the intrusion for earlier in your wing. That was not that was
This is a public space. Is your girlfriend okay?
uh no, she is not, no, she's
No,
not with me.
he's not my boyfriend. Firstly,
No,
he's no.
Seems
no,
bit
we
I
don't.
apologize, young
protective.
lady. You
I
were just someone who you reminded me of someone is all someone who I knew long ago. I was shocked. I thought he was like seeing a ghost. You're
Who is
a
it? They have
familiar face.
extensive family everywhere.
Oh, pardon, I couldn't hear you through the cut.
Who is it? I have extensive family.
Oh, just you. One of those faces is all. Yes, Jerry. Yes.
She, you get the impression she took that as a little bit of an insult. She is very like striking.
No.
Scoria does try and like calm things down and be like, well, we just wanted to come and introduce ourselves as we are here on behalf of the King of Vertohin. And we were told that you show a great interest in the gardens. And as we had just walked through them, you were foremost on our mind to seek out and have a conversation with.
Yes, I am here. We have walking gardens not far from here. Should we take a stroll?
If you have the time, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Well, I
Say
It
hello.
suppose
was a great
yes.
pleasure.
I've been wanting to meet you. Do tell me about yourself. What happened? I heard through the door you had been in a pocket dimension and you had found other politicians.
Well, we're really not sure what exactly happened. What we do know is that we ended up there and managed to get back here somehow. And it's all for the better,
Hmm.
but still
The first
confusing to us as well.
to explain fully.
I'm sorry,
Was
what
that-
was that?
The Furbolg did not want you to explain fully.
She
Oh.
just wanted to make sure that uh, we weren't overwhelmed with the shock we had just been through.
Yes. You know how stories
seemed-
are. It can
the
spread,
pocket-
get twisted.
The pocket dimension seemed to last much longer, and we were surprised to find it had only been a few seconds that since we were supposed to arrive. It was just very confusing, and frankly, we're glad to be out of that and just kind of want to move forward.
I think the
she'll kind of gesture as she like begins to sort of sashay off down the corridors, kind of making her way towards like an open archway.
I think Miss Tibby just wanted to make sure that this incident wasn't a distraction from what we're really here to do. So we didn't
course.
mean to
Make
make it
peace
seem
and
strange.
Make peace and friends. However, it seems you are being very withholding. It makes it hard to trust, you know.
Well, it's not that we're withholding, it's more we also don't know what is going on, and it could all just be a very strange accident, and we just we don't want it to be the forefront of what's on people's minds.
Mm,
We would be happy to share more with you. And can I insight check her to see um, if her interest sparks any suspicion?
I mean, it's not like a lie detector. What are you? I mean, you
I,
can't.
I'm kind of I would like to see if her pressing on this.
If it seems like she knows more than she's letting on.
Yeah, like as we mentioned, any little bits, if I maybe noticed so far the very brief details that we've given, if anything like seemed to strike her in particular.
Okay, like she seemed surprised.
Yeah, like just the mention of a pocket dimension, those types of things. If there's anything there, does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, you can make an insight check.
15.
I mean, she told you that she had heard through her door that you had arrived from a pocket dimension, so that didn't seem like new information to her. You didn't
Well,
really give her anything aside from, I guess, the time dilation.
okay. Um, well, we would be happy to share more with you if you wouldn't mind showing us around. We can check
Indeed,
this
this is
out.
why I walk over here. Please come. You enjoy
Sure.
gardens as well?
Yes.
Yes, certainly. And Beetle is just still bewildered, but is going to just walk kind of behind the group to the side. She she's it's like she's trying to avoid attention, but I'm not letting this sneaky little knife-eared bitch out of my sight. I don't trust her one bit.
Are you
Brasco,
okay? Are you okay, darling? You seem distraught.
Oh,
Do you need
no, I'm quite fine, dear. I'm just you're so lucky with your age or so. Actually, how old are you? I'm just curious. You seem quite youthful, but so
this? You
well
never
stated.
your age.
Brasco,
Pardon?
Brasco leans in and goes, like we said, it seemed to have we lasted about 2 days in that strange place. I'm exhausted. I'm sure my companion Beetlebug is also a little toughened up. I think we're just gonna casual relax a little bit at the moment, as much as we wanted to introduce ourselves.
Yes.
She kind of looks you guys over for a moment. One of you, so Beetle, Scoria, or Brosco, go ahead and make a deception check at advantage just to see how well you guys have been
We'll
matched.
do that.
How this
Somebody else do that. Please don't make me do.
Will do.
No, I have.
All right.
Okay, you're not perception, deception. Did you say
Oh,
deception?
deception.
deception.
Yeah, let me do that.
Deception. Yeah,
Deception,
because I
or
rolled. That was
make an
not
argument
right.
for performance if you prefer.
Yeah, let me roll
I
deception.
got it.
Let's see how this goes. Oh my god.
Okay.
Not 20. Thank God.
I was trying to roll because I have a +6, but okay.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, as Beetle kind of, sidles off by herself, she, blends in with the group to the point where Lenore is looking, but loses sight and seems to dismiss it. More interested that now that Roscoe is like talking her and demanding her attention, able to pass himself off as a little bit more normal. Um, you guys enter the archway and you see like a fair small manicured walking garden, but it's like it's enough to take like a 10-minute walk if you go back and forth along the entire zigzag path. There are roses, there are like a few sort of crawling vines, there are some passion flowers, um, a few like succulents sort of growing on the sides. There's like it's summer, so you can definitely like smell the beginnings of like summer fruit. It's quite pleasant. She just sort of slowly ambles along, like just giving you guys like a side eye and a slight smile, waiting for you to begin. Um,
Is
Yeah,
this
as
the
we're
same
walking.
garden or
No, this
like
is
it's
a
a
separate
different
garden.
A
This
separate
looks
garden.
different.
Yeah, this is the west wing has like a walk-in garden, so it's ground floor and it opens up, and kind of like a lot of those Spanish houses are built sort of in a square, and there's a garden like area in the middle. It's
Oh, like a
so-
courtyard.
yeah, it's like a courtyard garden, but it's like big enough to be a walking garden.
So as they're walking along, Scoria does, as she's beside her, say, I did go into and find quite interesting the greenhouse that is
Which
got
one?
all the stuff from the grotto.
Yes, the poisons.
I take it that doesn't interest you very much, and you just I just found it interesting and thought you might as well, but
It is interesting. I've studied some botany. I'm not an expert, but I do my best to keep up. It is a good talking point.
Do you have any favorite plants in this particular garden?
I mean, a friend of mine taught me to like orchids recently, but I must confess my passion is tea leaves. I read them, you see. I'm not sure if you're aware, but I'm part of a line of mages. Many of us are prone to seer magic. There's a line of seer blood in my veins. I like to think. I read the tea leaves, so I enjoy cultivating them, exploring the gardens.
well, maybe at some point we will have some tea, and maybe you can read some leaves for us if you would be so kind. That intrigues me greatly.
I
Beetle
would love
just mutters
Hmm.
to herself.
Francois never mentioned that.
Wait,
Nothing, dear. I was just saying it was a wondrous gift, truly. From the gods, even.
perhaps, but I didn't like to presume. And told perhaps you have magic as well.
A little bit here and there. It surely helped us when we were wherever we ended up.
Very remarkable. Are many in Vertogen versed in magic?
There are strict laws regarding the use and regulation of it. But there's bits and pieces throughout.
Not
As
terribly
there are
common.
there.
I myself have no magical ability whatsoever.
Well,
But-
dabbled.
It's definitely a thing that they like to not necessarily foster in their politicians, but a certain small level, at least, of magic seems to be helpful.
I hope you are not planning to charm me.
Oh, not at all. Only with my personality, maybe.
This is what
I
I would.
imagine Beetle is wearing the customer service smile at this point. She is literally grinding her teeth. This
Eyes twitching a little bit.
Brasco, I think Brasco is also sticking kind of towards the back just because he's got that level of
Oh,
exhaustion.
Scoria is straight up getting ready to flirt.
And, and Brasco will kind of lean down and be like, "You all right there, lady?
Fine. No idea what you could possibly be mentioning. Truly.
You look like you're going to shit yourself."
I will talk about it when we are back in our rooms.
Okay.
But Scoria will go on and be like, so these tea leaves, is this something you learned as a child, or is it something you fostered more recently?
I've always had a knack for seeing things other people have not. I have relatives who have claimed heritage near Claroff. This here spire is not unfamiliar to me. I was sent there as a girl and I underwent my seeing journey. And it is not something formally instructed, but I like to think that some of what I read is true. But more than that, I enjoy the mystique of it, you know. The same as
I love a good mystery and mystique myself. You have a little bit of that about yourself.
why, thank you. It is something I hope to cultivate.
Well, you were doing
This is
quite
Beetle's worst
well.
nightmare. She's been you see Beetle like Rasco, you notice Beetle's pinching herself as she's watching Scoria flirt with this woman. She's like, no, what sort of damned curse? No, no, no.
I must say, it is not every day you see someone with glowing purple hair.
I have the joy of coming from a mixed lineage of elementally gifted parents, and I mean, I think it looks quite good, and so I try to look just as good as it does.
Well, you're succeeding.
As she says that, Beetle actually is going to speed up. Like, she is just going to toddle forward, get between the both of them, just be like, lineages, you say? Very intriguing indeed. Lenore, you, like I said, have such a familiar face. Perhaps I've seen it painted somewhere, like a muse. You wouldn't mind telling me what your lineage is? Yes, I just have to know what that face is coming from.
Of course. Well, my parents were part of a political marriage to join Estunis and Fendera Land and Trade. I have many ties to Estunis. My father is from there, and most of my ties are there. But in Fendere, as you know, I preside over the west side of the Lariat Cove. I live near the Bergamo, and my family is active in political work.
Thinking. Very, very nice. It sounds like quite a bait wood to carry.
How about you? Have you ever been to the Lariat Cove or to Sinus?
Just flashbacks. So many I don't.
I visited once upon a time, my younger years. Oh gosh, you were probably just still a babe when that happened. But yeah, I imagine it's changed quite a bit since then.
Perhaps I have not visited in many years. Perhaps we have similar memories.
Oh my god. Perhaps, maybe I will have to travel when all this business here is done.
Well, we would love to have you at our family estate. Please do just get in contact.
Yes, of course. Do you have someone I could contact? A mother, a father, maybe?
My uncle is there. Of course, I could put you in touch. My cousins live around the area still.
Thank you, truly.
And Beetle actually is gonna take her hand, hear her wrinkly line, grip it a little too tight as she shakes it. Say, and then like start walking next to Scoria once again.
Truly, it was fascinating.
Did you said you had wanted to seek me out? Is there anything I can help you with?
Well, we wanted to ask you about the gardens, and we also heard that you were on the ship, were you not, with the last political party that was set to come here?
Yes, I was.
Just sounded like terrible business. And I know my first thought when we ended up where we did was that something similar might be happening. It was very frightening, but very glad to be here now. I just obviously there are questions and curiosities about that time. Obviously, we would like a very different outcome this go around.
It was horrible. And she like takes a seat on one of the benches as you guys near the end of the gardens. I can promise you, no one from Fendere benefited from that voyage. That is, I'm not sure what your motives are or what you're trying to clean, but I can tell you I am not responsible for anything. It was a
Oh
horrible
no,
event.
I
No.
do not think you're responsible at all. Personally, I just wanted a firsthand account. I know that Tibby was there, but she was very overwrought, and maybe a different point of view would give us a little more insight into what may have happened.
Make a persuasion check.
Do it. Do it.
15.
Okay. I must confess it was a traumatic experience for me. It is not something I care to relive, especially with strangers. But perhaps later on, if we were to get closer, we could revisit it. I I must confess, in a strange company, I do feel a little uncomfortable talking about her.
Well, perhaps this evening we could take another walk through the gardens, just the two of us, and get to know each other better.
Very well.
As a group, we could all get tea, and you could do tea readings. Yes, all of
Um,
us.
I'm curious. Of course, there's a lot of other things. Our arrival has, of course, been a little bit scattered. But I'm curious, as you know, we did come here with a mission and a plan and a goal in mind. What are your thoughts on there are two countries and our hopes for peace? That's definitely something I'm hopefully, that's something I'm thinking a lot about, and I'd like to learn more about what the general consensus is here amongst the people of Vertohen, or yeah, Vertohen.
Uh, well, I mean, I can tell you that when the queen came into power, what the thing she promised was to make an effort at peace, which is what enough politicians wanted to gain the support that she needed to claim the throne. Personally, I would like reparations for those affected by the war. More, perhaps, some say, than should be needed. However, I believe that the cost of it is insurmountable to some. Those responsible need to take action in order to show that they truly want this. But if help is given, I am amenable to it. I may need to be persuaded.
Very good to hear. I know that one of the things we were told was peace at any cost within reason. And I think putting something together to satisfy all parties is, or especially Vertoen, is hopefully in the cards. That's certainly what I'll be working towards this while we're here.
I look forward to working with you.
And are you?
So am I seeing just you tonight, or everybody? Turning to Storia.
I mean, I am more than happy to come on my own and get to know you a little better one on one.
And before she can even say, before she
like
can even say anything, I will put a big orc hand on Scoria's shoulder and say, I'm going to be probably playing cards with this one relatively late into the evening.
Oh.
That's right, she just loves playing cards, and that's what we'll be doing tonight.
Oh, yes, certainly. And I can't help but I know so many tea varieties. Perhaps there are some that your family members like as well. I'll bring a trinket to bring home and we can all drink tea together. Isn't that right, Scoria? And Beetle just gives her her eyes are bugging out at this point from the stress. They are bloodshot. One is twitching. She is.
I think my dear friend Beetlebug here is a little bit tired. I myself am also very exhausted. Come on,
I'm
why
not
don't
an
we?
invalid.
I know you're not. Let's head back to the rooms and try and get ourselves a nap before dinner. How about that? And I'm gonna physically start kind of shuffling her back down the hall, like I'm trying to exit this scenario with her.
And she,
Which I don't know if I should make a roll for that or but I would love to try.
I mean, given how you described both Brosco and how Beetle has been described, I'm assuming you can just pick her up like a baby, unless.
But I don't want to be weird and obvious and creepy about it. Like I'm picking up this other
And
diplomat.
Beetle is resisting, so I'm gonna roll a strength.
Say, you're definitely big enough, but make a performance check just to see how
Oh my god.
that you're not press ganging her into leaving.
What'd you get?
Oh my.
You say nat 20?
Okay. Well, what are you rolling to do? Are you trying to hide this?
To avoid leaving.
She rolled strength
No,
to avoid
I'm
leaving.
like literally, she is cementing herself.
I mean, I rolled a 12, so I think what happens is I try to shove a little bit, like my first interest is to try and do this like casually and calmly, and I sort of try to nudge you, and you just don't move.
Brick wall.
Okay.
While everyone is like fighting over for this woman, Hone is just gonna be like, I heard you like tea. And he like just hands her like a little tea bag of Olisuba leaves, which I guess is common in might be common in Vertolen, but I don't know about Fundere. But he's like, here,
Did you just have that in your pocket?
I have them with me.
Thank you. I, I will try.
But all of us will be to talk and have tea. Yes, all of us. You know what, Brasco, maybe I do need it out, but I will go of my own accord. Beetle is just going, I'm also going to say the reason why she rolled that net 20s because her arthritis just naturally kept her super stiff and unable to be moved. So, like, it is with just a cacophony of cracking that she actually does start to finally move.
She turns to Julianne. Is your friend okay?
I believe so. She's a bit of an odd one, but she's good at her job. Thank you very much for showing us around here. I'm sorry if we brought up some unpleasant times. We didn't mean to bombard you with these questions. Just we're very interested in forming some type of negotiation and getting through this. I think we're all rather tired of the war and would like to see something happen. So, if you'll excuse us, I think we'll go tend to our eccentricities, and perhaps we can meet with you later on to read some tea leaves and discuss this a bit further.
Yes, and sorry your friend is having a hard time, but it is good to see that people interested in taking action are representing the Tohin. Well, do tell your two friends that if they would like to play cards, I will be available later.
I'll let them know.
Very well. I am going to go this way. I think your friend is in some sort of distress.
Scoria will
Absolutely.
hang back a little bit and be like, well, if we're all coming back for tea, maybe I can sneak out and see you a little later. And then kind of skip forward, but just talking low enough that maybe Beetlebug can't hear her.
Yes, farewell. I hope you have a pleasant rest of your day, Lady Lenore. Truly, I look forward to our next meeting. Yes. I need to go rest my old bones, is all. Arthritis, you know.
Yeah, and as she like, makes her way gracefully out the other side of the garden.
Please
You get
enjoy the tea leaves.
Fresco's just gonna just kind of stride up, just to get very as charismatic of a bow as he can give, and then out.
Julian, as she's walking with this group, just is very composed, but thinking, we are serious diplomats. We are here for a reason. We were chosen for a reason. We can, in fact, do this thing.
Beetle is trying to
Okay.
keep herself from falling apart. She is. She
And
needs
Scoria's
just-
all like, I want a date with her.
Right. I would say she leaves. If you would like to have a moment to speak without her, Beetle, you are welcome to. If not, we can end for tonight. I wasn't sure how you wanted to address this.
I mean, Bresco's going, "Are you okay?"
No. And Beetle, like she's doing the yell whispers that you do when you're really angry, but your parent just want to like make a scene. I'm not Scoria. That is. I'm certain that she sprung forth from Francois' loins.
Well, that explains why
First-
she's gorgeous.
Scoria, I am begging you. Fuck anyone in this house. You can fuck the queen if you want. I don't care if it was this mission in distress. Just not her. I am begging you, do not get ensnared for years like I did. That family will bring you to your ruin.
Well, what if I want to be ruined?
Oh shit!
Brasco hears that and just goes, "All right," and leaves. He's going back to the rooms. He's going to go to bed. He's getting rid of his exhaustion. No more. Brasco's gone.
Julian will follow and just say, "I think that's a family matter."
So it's some kind of matter, all right.
Hone is just like, you want to be like that, and just points to Beetlebug.
I'm pretty sure she was like this before Francois ever got to her.
Oh, he could never do this to me. No, he is a pathetic worm of a man. You understand that?
And with a little huff, Beetle's just gonna gather up her rope and just begin limping her way back to her room. She needs a nap.
Goodness.
Scoria will follow, but like a longing look over her shoulder as they walk out of the West Wing.
And with that, we'll go ahead and end there for tonight. We'll be back next week at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. Just let me go ahead and plug a couple of things that we have coming up this week. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. we have Chaos Commentary with special guest Chad. Thursday at 5 we have At the Threshold. 7 p.m. on Friday we have Solemn Exterior, and Monday at 5:30 we have Madness Takes Artena. And you can come back at 1 p.m. Pacific time next week to catch Watercolor Wizardry before the game. Kristen, do you have anything to plug before we go?
No. Chris, and that's been our show.
Other Kristen, do you have anything?
Oh, hey. No, thanks for watching, everyone. It's been really fun. Look forward to seeing y'all next week.
Beth.
I am on social media at Beth Masco, and yeah, you can just catch me here on Tuesdays.
All right, Abby.
I have a migraine tonight. I apologize if I was not on game as usual, but if you want to see more of me, check me out at Nothing Abby. I pretty much am doing a thing usually most days of the week, and if you think vampires, shadowy women with tentacles, keep an eye out. And of course, check out Maria's stuff. She's amazing.
And Allison.
Hi, I'm here on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and on Saturdays, catch me over at Exquisite Corpse Presents. There will be a break at the end of this month because it is our DM's 30th birthday, baby. But other than that,
30-year-old person.
be on Twitter at It's a Feral, and that's where I am.
I'm everywhere at Maria Oglesby Art. You can order custom maps, PC art, or pet portraits from me over on Etsy, also at Maria Oglesby Art. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.